Hey folks, this is Johnny again, now with the second part about amp simulation plugins. This time we are getting to the meat of it. So what I got here is a remake of my cover of the song New Groove by Periphery. So first of all, here's what it sounds like unmastered but mixed. Okay, and the guitars themselves sound something like this. So now I'm gonna show you step by step how to do this. But first of all, to get you started, you may just want to insert any amp simulation and any impulse just so you have some basic sound, and now just record some random riff, to start off with, so you have something that you can really dial in your tone in detail. So once you have done this, you probably have some DI tracks that sounds something like this. Very bland. Okay, now I'm going to put in an amp simulation. So the one that I chose for this one is the TSE X40. This is a new amp simulation by TSE, and I think this sounds really good. I mean, the Electro is pretty good too and very djenty, but it needs more aggressive post EQing because it has a lot of low wobbling stuff in it going on that's very annoying, and a lot of honkiness that needs to be taken out. And the X50 also sounds really good, but it sounds also more scratchy. And I think the X40, the new one, is top notch. So I'm gonna talk about the knobs in here later. So the amp itself sounds something like this. Okay, now let's put in an impulse response. Again, I love to use LeCab. This is just superb. I put all the download links to all the stuff in the description. So in here I put in the Sperimental impulse pack, specifically the impulse from the NGL folder between 02. I think this sounds really cool. Now anyways, you still notice it sounds rather muddy and has not a lot of crunchy attack to it, so what I love to do is put the TSE 808 in front of it all. I put the drive all the way down, the tone all the way up. There you get a very djenty feel. And the volume, make sure you put it in a way that the signal doesn't clip again. So just bypass the amp and the cap. Just turn on the 808 and then look at the volume level up here and make sure you put the volume level in the 808 so it doesn't clip. Okay, so now you get a very aggressive thing going on. Okay, there you have a basic tone. So now what I'd like to do in here in the amp is I put the input signal all the way up the volume. So you have a more aggressive tone and a little bit more compression in it. And I pull out the distortion a little bit more. I'll leave the low and middle on the center position. Crank up the mids, put the highs a little bit higher. Of course, this is to your preference. You can do whatever you want. But don't forget to activate the stereo button. So the amp knows, it has to process the left and the right signal separately. Because again, what I did here, I have the left and right guitar panned hard left and right and both sent to the group channel. So, okay. Once you've got that down, what we need now is a gate. And the gate should always come first in your signal chain, not the compressor, because the noise that you have in the gaps in those syncopated riffing, this needs to be filtered out before it is compressed, because with compression it's getting louder again and you don't want this. It needs to be filtered out first. So gate first. Put the attack very fast so the gate opens up very quick again when you pick the guitar. I like to put the release just a tad slower, because when you put it too fast, the gate chops off very harshly, you know, and then it sounds quite unnatural. So just a tad slower, around 20 to 40 milliseconds, it gives a more natural feel to it. And then adjust the threshold accordingly that it's cleaning up nice. And then it sounds something like this. Okay, next comes the compressor right after the gates. And the compressor in here, I didn't set it up to put in more sustain or anything. I rather set it up to give more punch. You know, I have more of a drum approach to this compression on the guitars, which is actually quite weird, but it helps a bit. So I put the ratio around 3:1. You can also put it a bit harder if you want to. Then the attack rather slow, around 30 to 50 milliseconds, anywhere in this area. And then the release, medium release time, around 100 to 200 milliseconds. Because then you get a bit of a harder, punchy pick attack. Okay. Now comes the EQs. Look at this first EQ. Now, first of all, do not just copy what I did here, because what I did here is I filter out some peaks from the noise coming from the guitar, and of course this is highly dependent on your guitar and your setup. I'm just going to tell you how to determine where those peaks are. First of all, turn off the gate, activate the monitor buttons, and turn up the volume knob on your guitar so you're basically ready to play, you know, but don't play. Just put in a frequency analyzer, if you have something like this, you know, a frequency spectrum. And then you're supposed to see a line down here, you know, that's pretty much depicting the noise coming from your guitar. And then look where the peaks are and try to filter those out. But make sure you check those first, so just put in a very sharp band in here and then just sweep through this general area where the notches are also, or where the peaks are depicted in the frequency spectrum. And once you find those ringing, those sound kind of ringing frequencies, you know, those need to be filtered out. So then just do it like this. Okay. And now I'm going to show you what it's actually good for. And the best way to show you, I turn it on and then I turn it back off again. So you notice there's this kind of whistling coming in when I bypass this EQ. Now this EQ may be a bit hard to set up because you gotta listen very carefully, but really take the effort and try it out, because it will be worth your while. Because in the end it just sounds cleaner and more cleared up, and you hear the actual notes better when all this annoying whistling in the background is gone. So now the last two EQs, those are basic mixing actually. You see, low cut, lowering around 500 Hz to get rid of muddiness and honkiness, then lowering 2.5 kHz to get rid of scratchiness, and lowering everything upwards from 10 kHz to get rid of fizziness. If you want some more detail on guitar mixing, then check out part 8 of my in-depth video tutorials. I'm just gonna do it quick here. See, it cleans up nicely. And then the last EQ, just boosting the low end and the djenty mids around 1 kHz. And then you're done. And now in the mix again. something like this. Okay, now the third part will be basically the same, but about the bass guitar.